Hello, everyone. This is Angela Legh, and I'm author of the Bella Santini Chronicles. I am here with my beloved friend, Nicole Lovince, the beautiful inside and out Nicole. And today we're going to talk about unapologetic self-care. Nicole, what do you have to say about that?
Oh, man, I have so many things to say about unapologetic self-care. Yeah, I know we're going to get into it, but I mean, there's so many different phases of what that gets to look like, and like even breaking down what is self-care to you. So I'm super excited to like delve into that conversation, especially with you, because I feel like anytime we talk, there's always so many juicy nuggets that come through. So everyone's in for a treat today.
Okay, so let's start with, what does self-care mean? Because before I was awake, self-care meant I would go get massages, or I would exercise, or I would eat right. And I know that those are all aspects of self-care, but there's a whole wide range of other aspects. So why don't you introduce our audience to a couple of the other aspects of it?
Yeah, and before we do that, I'd love to just express who I am before we
Oh, please do.
Yeah. So we have
how did I forget that?
Yeah, no worries, because we're ready to get right to the good stuff. So for those of you who are in Angela's community who've maybe never met me before, I am Nicole Dominique Lovince. I'm what you would consider to be a multi-hyphenate talent. So full-time actress, singer, songwriter, international public speaker, and then founder of the Goddess Bath Experience. And so in the Goddess Bath Experience, it's a community that I use to work with women to help teach them a self-care ritual called the Goddess Bath. And so that's a ritual, intentional bath in order to heal, transform, manifest, deepen your self-care practice. So that's one of the things already that I'm going to share as far as self-care practice. And for anyone who's here from the Goddess Bath Experience, I would love to introduce you to Angela. She is an incredible author and intuitive, and she's just here to share all of her wisdom and her light keeper codes to help all of the generations cross over into what's next for all of us. And so I'm so excited to like dive into this juicy conversation today.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Okay, so now you're on. What you talked about Goddess Bath, and that certainly is a self-love experience. So why don't you talk about that?
Yeah. So as I've just mentioned, the Goddess Bath is an intentional ritual bath. And so what I mean by intentional and what I mean by ritual, intentional is anything that we do on purpose and with purpose, right? And that's how we all get to live our lives, hopefully, is with intention and with purpose. So it's a practice that you're doing intentionally and with purpose. And the ritual side of this bath is that it's done in ritual, done in practice, done in ceremony, done consistently and intentionally. And so when you think about it, we are always in ritual in our lives. From the moment you wake up, what's the first thing that you do? You're probably either going into the bathroom, washing your face, brushing your teeth, flossing, using the bathroom, or maybe you beeline to the kitchen to make your beverage, whatever that is. Right? Angela's like coffee. Whatever that is for you, you're in autopilot with something and more than something in your life, actually. And so how do you take each moment of your experience and turn it into a ritual, and turn it into a ceremony that can support you to love on yourself? So if you look at it from that perspective, every single moment of your life can turn into a moment, an active moment of self-care, an active moment of self-love.
That is so rich in, oh gosh, everything. And the codes that you bring in for self-love are amazing. So one of the things that I talk about is, can you look in the mirror and start cataloging the things you see that you like, as opposed, how many of us look in the mirror and start saying, oh, my eyes are drooping and I've got these wrinkles, and we start cataloging everything we hate about ourselves. But if we can switch that practice into saying, oh, well, my eyes look good today. Yes. and and just try to, even if it's like the way your hair is flowing, or the curve of your neck, it doesn't matter what it is, but find something to like about how you look when you look in the mirror.
Yeah, I agree. I love doing mirror practices. And it's definitely one of the things that I use as far as like self care, self love, because it's really identifying. Because how many of us, we do stare in the mirror, maybe not stare, but most of us probably use the mirror on a daily basis for something, whether it's even if it's just brushing your teeth or fixing your hair, makeup for some of us, whatever that is. At some point in the day, you're probably in the mirror. And how often do you stop and like have a beautiful conversation with yourself, even if it's one word of saying like, I love you, or you look amazing today. I know I forgot the name of the book, but it's the author, it's a woman. It's like the 5 4 3 2 1 method or something like that. It's like the five.
Oh, Mel Robbins, yeah.
Yeah,
The
yes.
5 seconds. Yeah.
Yes. And a part of that, it's like you hop out of bed, but like the next not contingency, but the next continuation of like her practice that she teaches is like going into the bathroom and like looking in the mirror and like high-fiving yourself. And so I love that practice because that's just so fun. Like I do that sometimes when I'm feeling just like icky, because sometimes we wake up and we don't feel our best. Like let's be honest, right? Like that's the truth. We can be
Absolutely. Honest. Our dreams can take us into, like, I woke up this morning with this dread feeling, and it was based on the dream that I had. And I just needed to do some meditation to get myself out of that energy.
Yeah. And that's one practice that I've definitely used to like, it just makes me chuckle every time to like just high five myself in the mirror. And so it's like one that I have in my toolbox, and like it's a double one for me because I did a Chevy commercial a few years ago. It was a Chevy campaign, and one of the things that they had me do in one of the campaign skits that we did was I like did a mess up or whatever in the kitchen, like in the scene, like I dropped something. And I like high-fived myself to like get over it. And so like not only is that moment in the mirror funny because I'm high-fiving myself, but it takes me back to a happy moment when I actually like got to high-five myself doing something that I love. So it takes me back, and it immediately like puts me into a different space. Even sometimes like forcing a smile or like just starting laughter, and then you'll see that you get into like this huge roar of laughter, and like just the art of laughing and smiling, how that can shift your energy and just drop you into you and loving yourself. And so like, where are those moments where you can deep dive into you and find grace and find fun and find joy, even when it may not feel easy? There's so many life moments and things that you're already doing that you can use to love on yourself and use as a self-care, unapologetic self-care practice for yourself.
It's like giving yourself permission to value yourself. And that is so important. I grew up, I had an abusive father. I had alcoholism. There was a lot of mess in my family. And what I walked away with was that I didn't matter. And that idea of I didn't matter followed me into my first marriage, where I chose a husband who treated me like I didn't matter. And guess what? I got what I wanted, right? And had I had any level of self-care and self-love, I would have drawn boundaries and said, no, that treatment isn't okay. It is so important, especially for women, to embrace themselves and have self-love, expect to be respected, and just set those boundaries that, you're not going to allow someone to treat you in a way that isn't respectful and honoring.
Yeah, you just said a mouthful, and there's like 3 points that I want to speak to. One of the points is like the shared experience around like traumatic childhood. And so you in my community, you know, I've shared my story about my mother. And when I was 7, my mother went into a mental institution. And after that, our lives drastically changed. You know, within 2 years of that, my parents were divorced and filed for bankruptcy. And up to that point, I lived a pretty charmed life. We lived in a big, beautiful house, like had vacation homes, multiple cars. And then all of a sudden, like literally overnight, my life changed. It was like a year of tragedy. My mom but like miscarried my little, not miscarried, but he was born premature, 7.5 months, and he didn't make it past 24 hours.
Oh, wow.
Her best friend was murdered by one of their students right outside of their school.
Oh,
and then that was the last event that triggered her breakdown, and she went into the institution. And then after that, life just was never the same. And so what I made that mean about me was that I wasn't worthy. I wasn't deserving, because when my mom got out, we became the black sheep of the family. Like nobody wanted to touch it with a 10-foot pole. This is like the early 90s. Like we weren't having
right. Mental health was not an acceptable thing at the time. Yeah.
No. And so we became like, people distanced themselves from us, family included. And so I not only lost my mom, but we lost most of our lifestyle, our friends, family,
your structure.
Exactly. And my mom, you know, would have like these manic fits because she was coming off of the medicine. And, you know, I remember one night, and this is so much a part of like how my self-care journey started, was she was in one of those manic hazes. And for her, she believed that a demon was inhabiting me, her daughter.
Oh.
And she dragged me out of bed, threw me in a tub of water, and held me under because she was trying to drown the demon out.
Yeah.
For me, what I made that mean was like, oh my God, if my own mother tries to kill me, then what would the rest of the world do? And automatically the world became safe. Unsafe. I couldn't trust people. And my life doesn't matter. I'm not valuable. I don't matter. And that's the code that I took on. So I share that with you because what it then created was I would create these trauma cycles, because that's how I equated love, was with pain. So then every relationship, no matter if it was love, work, friendship, school, whatever, I was constantly creating that cycle because I didn't know how to love myself. I didn't know how to like have that self-care practice because I didn't feel worthy of it. Right?
Yeah. And the setting of boundaries, I mean, everything you said is so powerful. And the setting of boundaries is something that I never learned. And so when you don't teach children to set boundaries, then they're going to get walked on by the world. So that is an added, just a little nugget added.
And that was the third thing I wanted to mention, was the boundary side of things too. As a result of those things, I didn't have boundaries. Yeah. And I didn't know even what they were, that I could set them for myself, with people that I love, with people that I don't know. Like I did, you know, in anywhere in my world, I didn't know that boundaries was something that could be set, and it was actually healthy and pivotal to any healthy relationship, is having healthy boundaries.
Yeah.
So I agree, you know, having that in the space, and like self-care is what comes into place. It plays a huge part in having boundaries, because when someone has good boundaries, they typically have phenomenal self-care practices.
Which is good. Yeah. And then the other aspect of your story, and really my story, is how children, they internalize. And so, you know, when parents are getting divorced, the child will think it's their fault. Yep. When a mother has a psychotic break and goes into the hospital, the child wonders what they did to cause that. And so it's really important for parents to understand that if there's some kind of life crisis going on in the family, sit down and talk to the kids and let them know, you know, this came about because of these things. It has nothing to do with you.
Yeah, I think that's such a beautiful point, because you know, it's something that can start to be implemented at a very young age. And if it's not modeled, and if it's not taught,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
something that you hopefully stumble upon at some point in your adult years, but that's not always the case.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's so interesting because a lot of the work that I do is about the filters and perceptions that we are handed by other people when we're children. We believe their authorities, we believe they're telling truth. But as the Talmud says, we all see the world not as it is, but as we are. And those people who told us those things were seeing the world through their experiences and their life up to that point. It's not the truth, it's their truth. And so, but we're little kids, so we just absorb it all and we believe, oh, okay, so mom had to scrape for food because she lived through the Depression. And so I have to act as if money is going to flit away at any point. And it's those belief structures that create our reality.
yeah, they do. Our belief systems and our values, they absolutely shape the world that we allow ourselves to live in, like our personal worlds. I totally,
Oh, yeah.
like, I subscribe to that notion as well. And, you know, I think about, like, I've shared this story before. My grandmother is also from the generation that lived through the Great Depression. And as a result, she's like the classic grandmother that grew up during that time of like never wanting to let go of canned goods and like every little thing wanting to hold on to the button
My
that
grandma,
pocket.
yeah,
There for
my grandma reused foil. So,
yeah.
exactly.
And here's what's interesting, and what we start to see about epigenetics is like that gets passed down. That scarcity code, really, it gets passed down in our DNA. So now all the children being birthed from that generation have scarcity codes
In them.
in their
And,
DNA. You
and
know,
then it like acts out. Yeah. So it starts though with shifting your belief structure.
yeah, yes,
And when you have a different belief structure, then your body, your cells are flexible. They can react to the environment that you are in. So when you change your belief structure, it actually can implement structural changes in your cells.
yeah, yeah, and then from inside out creates the
Yeah.
change. From inside out creates the change.
Which is a whole nother, that's a whole nother saying, like your exterior world is a reflection of your interior world.
Yeah,
So if you live in fear, you will always notice the things that are fearful in your world. And if you live in abundance, you will notice the abundant things in your world.
so good. Because you can find scarcity in any direction, and you can also find abundance in any direction at the same time. It's like two sides of the same coin. It's the yin and the yang, it's the divine and the masculine, it's like the dualities of life. And so if you have that choice, which universe are you going to decide to live in? The abundant universe or the
We've we've kind of moved off of the self-care thing.
but it does come
But
back.
it's part of self-care. Yeah, if you can't afford to get a massage, if you can't afford to get your nails done, then oh my gosh, you don't feel like you can give self-care.
Yeah. And that's a conversation that happens often with the women in my community, especially when they come in for the first time. They're like, oh, self-care becomes this term of like something extra when you have the money, when you have the time. It's like something that's a luxury. And it's completely the opposite, is what I get to help women reframe the concept around self-care. Like, this is not an afterthought. This is actually your foundation from which everything grows from.
Mm-hmm.
You can, but you won't get far, give from an empty cup. We shouldn't be giving from a full cup. We should be giving from the overflow, in fact. Again, so that's why drawing it, when we were saying abundance, I'm like, no, actually, it's actually very directly tied to self-care. Like it's one and the same, because the reality is when you have that mindset of like, oh, self-care is the extra, that can only happen when I am abundant. But then how do you get to the abundance?
Right. Oh my God, that's so powerful.
I mean, so like that means the root of that is the self-care, which is essentially the self-love. That's the foundation to make sure you're always anchored in abundance, because it's a mindset, it's a belief. And if you already believe you're abundant and you love yourself enough, then you're most certainly going to be taking care of yourself at any level. Mm-hmm. And so abundance is absolutely tied to self-care, because it's how you treat yourself, how you feel about yourself.
And I really love the point you made about, you know, are you going to wait to do self-care until you have the money? Taking a bath and putting some salts in it, you know, it's $2. It's not an expense. Yeah. And that is a very intentional act of self-care.
Yeah. And I'd love to get in sharing that process. That's something that I often share with women in my community as well. It's like, this doesn't have to be an uber expensive experience for you. It can be. But most people, for the most part, if you're living in Western society, and I would venture to say if you're streaming with us on any platform, then you are, no matter what your circumstance is, you are in some sort of first world experience, right? You're not living in a third world experience, no matter where you feel you are on that spectrum of abundance we're talking about, right? You are in a place of abundance, even if the country that you're living in is an abundant country. So there's that element of it, right? For the most part, you're going to have a bathroom in your home, more than likely, right? You're living in a first world society. You're going to have a bathroom in your home. 9 times out of 10, you're probably also going to have a tub. If you don't have a tub, you have a shower, right? That's kind of like a baseline not even necessity, but a baseline like need that most people are going to have in their homes, right? So already check abundant. You already have the main thing you need to do this very simple self-care practice, a tub or shower. Check, check, check. Great. And just like Angela was mentioning, bath salts. Essentially what I teach women and men as well, however you choose to identify, is it's the intention. That's the most important part. That's what makes it different from a regular shower or a regular bath. You're doing it intentionally. It's not just about cleansing your body for the sake of cleaning because your body is dirty. It's an intentional practice that you're doing to commune with yourself and to commune with the higher power. And so that's what's happening in that experience. You're getting really clear on you. You're getting really clear on your mission, your purpose, your calling, and what are those steps? What are those blocks and those mental beliefs that you have about yourself that may not be serving you, that you get to release and let go and release into the water, that you can transmute now into usable energy? Because water is a portal. It holds information, it holds wisdom. Like there's been all kind of scientific studies done on the power and the secrets of water. This is like no new thing that I'm sharing with you. Even water rituals and water practices have been used in cultures and religions for thousands of years. Since human beings have been around, we have used water in ceremony, in ritual, because of the powers that it has to heal and transform and to manifest. And so this is the level of work that you're doing that can be done every single time you step into a shower, every single time you step into a bath. You can be doing this energetic work that supports you in whatever you're creating in your life. And so it's about that intention. And what I tell the people in my community is you curate your bath or your shower based on your intention using your 5 senses. So we know what all 5 of the senses are, right? Don't know, it's a quick Google search. But
but Google later, because we're in this now.
Google later. But it's smell, taste, touch, sound. I'm missing one. Oh my gosh. Sight.
So put some music that soothes your soul, and put that music on, light some candles, set your intention, add goodies to the water, and
Flowers, bath salts, crystals. Like when I'm doing abundance baths, I put money in the water. Like it's, again, it just depends on what your intention is. What is your intention? And you're going to base that curation of the bath or the shower is going to be based on the intention using the five senses. And that's going to be individual to all of you out there, because what smells like love to me may not smell like love to you if my intention of this bath is love. You know,
Chocolate cookies smell like love to me.
yeah, right, exactly. So people might have, a cookie candle burning versus like I'm probably gonna have like rose and vanilla, because that's,
well, no, I would go with rose and vanilla too. It's just, fresh baked chocolate chip cookies have that is a smell that is compelling to me.
but yeah, that's the point though. That's the point. If it really resonates as love, and maybe it's like, and there's so many different levels of love. Maybe it's like familial love. And fresh baked cookies maybe reminds you of your grandmother baking
of my mom, or
Yeah. And so again, you're curating based on the intention using your five senses. And those things are going to be so uniquely inherent to you and your experience of what you align and you attune to for those five senses. Because the five senses are how we experience the world physically, right? It's how we experience the world as human beings, because we are spirits inside of a physical body. And this is why we've come to this material plane to experience the material plane. And we experience the material plane through these physical bodies, which have experience through five different senses. Okay.
Yeah. So one of the things that is so powerful about your bath experience is also the elements, because the element of water, the element of the air, the element of the piece, if you put flowers, that's element of earth, the fire in the candle, and all of those elements can help you to create whatever it is that you're setting your intention for.
Yeah, absolutely. It's there to support and amplify the experience that you're creating for yourself.
Yeah, when my house burned down in 2017 and I lost everything, that was a catalyst. It was a transformation. Fire is a transformation. It changes energy. So instead of wood, you now have ash. It transformed it. And for me, that fire was the transformation that I needed to start the journey that brought me to here, where I have 3 children's books that teach consciousness. Yeah.
I love it. I love it, especially working with any element. And when you can bring them all into the bath experience, because you're using water, you can burn candles with the fire. Incense and smoke will come from the candles, or smoke come from the incense. So you can bring in air in that way. I'm missing one. Earth. Yes. You can bring in crystal. Sometimes I do like mud clay math as well, if I'm like wanting to tap into all of the elements. And so you can come at it from any direction. Like I typically, for me, my monthly practice is I will do a goddess bath on the full moon and the new moon. That's what puts me in the system. And so then the ritual of it, or the system of it, because those are occurring every single month, and they come with their own set of energies. And for anyone who likes to work with astrology or has any knowledge of it, you know how powerful and how powerful of a roadmap your natal chart can be for you, and working with the energies of the planet. And especially once you understand how that aligns scientifically with how it affects human beings and the water on the planet and the animals on the planet by the positioning of the other planet in the solar system, it becomes like you start to really see the levels of which we are connected here as humans to the rest of the planet and the rest of the other beings, animals and insects and everything else that are here, and how we're one together, and how really we're all tapped and tuned into that same creative energy. And from that space and place, there isn't anything that you're not able to create, because we're all tapped into that same oneness. And so what is your unique gift? What is your unique offering? And that's what I love about doing a goddess bath, is it drops you into that portal. It drops you into that quantum field so quickly, in a way that's luxurious, in a way that's soothing, not only to your spiritual side, but your physical body, which is the way we are experiencing
Which
it.
is, yes, this is the suit that we experience things with. And it's, yeah, someone asked me, what do you think the meaning of life is? And I was like, well, from a soul perspective, the meaning of life is experience. It's not good experience or bad experience. It's only experience. And so if we can intentionally add these experiences that fill our soul, that create a sense of peace in our life, and just help us to drop into, hey, I'm okay, everything's good, this is a good place for me to be, and then that is just a beautiful space to experience.
Yeah. And that's so beautifully said. I love that. I feel the same way. It's about our journey. It's the experience. Like, I had a coach tell me once before, and I use it all the time now. It's like, events are neutral. Nothing is happening to you. Everything is happening for you. Events are completely neutral. You've not done anything wrong to like cause an earthquake or cause your house to burn down. It's not because you're a bad person. It's like, events are neutral. They happen to everybody and will continue.
Exactly. You could be as connected to your soul as you can possibly be. You can be self-realized, and still events happen to you, or not to you, but events happen, and how you deal with it, how you respond from a place of, I am okay no matter what the circumstances are, then you are able to really step forward in life, and you're able to create that magical life that you so desire.
Yeah. And that is abundance mindset. And that is why it's attached to self-care. Because
Which is an aspect of self-care that I had not yet considered. Thank you, Nicole.
yeah, it's all one and the same. But this is the level of awareness that you start to have when you have healthy boundaries, when you have a self-care practice. Because one of the things that I've noticed, especially being as consistent as I am with goddess baths and all of my other self-care practices, I can rattle them off shortly too, is that the more that I delve into my self-care practices, the more magnetic and magical I become. Because I am so anchored in my worth and my value, because how could I not be? I treat myself so immaculately. And so in return, I not only show people around me how to treat me, I show the universe how to treat me. We train the universe in what we are available for by how we show up for ourselves. And if you show up for yourself in a scarce space, if you show up for yourself like you don't care about you and how you're treating your body and what you're eating and all of these things, then like, you're training the universe in what you're available for and what you're magnetizing. Because it's like, I can go on for days about this, because this is the life that I live, and I see it working so beautifully in my world and everyone else's world around me that's into that practice. And anybody that you see is like a hero in your eyes, or like someone you aspire to be, or like a world leader that you look up to, like, delve into and study, like, how do they take care of themselves? It is at a very high level, and there's a reason for that. It's not just an afterthought of like, oh, well, Oprah can do that because she's Oprah. No.
Oprah got to be Oprah because she did that.
Exactly. And she sustains it because she continues to expand her capacity to love on herself.
Which is the start of everything.
The foundational piece of it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
So good.
It is so good. My friend, you have an event coming up, don't you?
Oh my gosh. I do. So this is for women or those who identify as women. This is a women's self-care retreat that I'm hosting in Tulum, Mexico. It's 4 days, 3 nights, all inclusive, private residence in the jungle, private chef, healing, transformation, masterminding. 4 days, 3 nights of that. And the intention is I'm speaking to women who have a dream that maybe they've been pushing off in the corner, or it's finally out of the corner and into the light. And they're like, I got this thing and I really want to do it, but I have no idea what to do with it, or how to bring it into the world, or how to elevate, how to allow it to be seen, heard, witnessed. And that's what this retreat is all about. It's basically like that Cinderella to Queen moment. It's like,
so, yeah, it's so amazing. I had this knowing, this sense that I was supposed to write a book 10 years ago. I didn't start until 3 years ago. So if I knew of your retreat 10 years ago, I could have been on it back then.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm the same way. Like, I had the idea of Goddess Bath like in my heart for many years. Like, it's, for me, the original dream was I wanted to do a subscription box. And I had no idea how to start this. Like, it felt so far and big beyond me, of like sourcing the products and putting the box together and distribution. And it felt overwhelming to the point where I became stagnant because I didn't know what direction to move. Inertia is basically what happened for me. And what opened me up to even way more of doing just the subscription box, because we do that now. But what also became available was, well, this isn't just a subscription box, but there's a spiritual process that you're actually teaching. And there's an actual community that wants to be built around this. And not only a community, but programs and products and speaking engagements and rituals and ceremony, and a whole world opened up as a result of me saying yes. And where the download came through and where the movement came through was at a retreat.
So cool.
In Mexico. And so that's my intention, is taking women back, because I believe I planted a seed in very fertile soil at a retreat and at a portal of a location, because Tulum is such a portal. If you've never been, oh my God, like the manifestation energies and the supportive energies of that place when you're in creation is like out of this world. It's like almost impossible not to create in this place. I planted a seed, and that seed grew a beautiful tree and bear a beautiful fruit, which is the community. So I want to take the community back, which are those pieces of fruit, where you get to now plant your seed into the soil and grow your beautiful, strong tree. And before you look around, we're in a forest together. And so that's the intention. So what's been alive for you, Queen? Like, what's that dream that's been nagging and it's just been sitting there? And even if you've been dabbling in it, like, where can you go to help you quantum leap and propel that, so you're not waiting 10, 20, 30 years before you birth something into the space? Because time is the only thing. It is our most valuable resource. It's the only thing we can't get back. We cannot buy. We're on borrowed time from the moment that we're born. We don't get that back. And so really, when you look at life from that perspective, we don't have time to waste. Not for your dreams, not for the things that you're here to create and birth into the world, because that means we're going to miss out on something magical. We're going to miss out on the gift of you. And so this retreat is all about allowing you a safe space to birth the gift of you.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you, my friend.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Yeah. So, okay. Will you drop the link to the retreat in the comments? And I'm going to thank everyone who watched today. Our intention is really for you to see the value of you, because each and every one of us brings to this earth unique gifts. And we need all the gifts to make heaven on earth. So we want you to truly open your heart to yourself and just pour the love onto you. It can start with a goddess bath experience. It can start with the mirror work of looking in the mirror and finding the one thing you like. But find a way to love on yourself today.
Yeah. And I dropped the link in the chat, Angela. I'm not sure if it's going to go out to the different.
Does it say all where you?
It just says chat with everyone in studio. It doesn't show me all.
Oh,
I may not see that.
Yeah.
Are you able to grab it from the chat and then?
I am not seeing. Let me. Can't post comment.
Let's see here. I can also text it to you right now. Is there a way that you can grab it? Or I can
I can. Okay. We have so many blessings of technology and sometimes it lets us down.
So Angela, I just texted to you.
Okay, I haven't gotten it yet, but as soon as I do.
If there's another place I can send it to you where it'll show up faster, I can do that as well.
I think text should be the fastest.
Okay. Come on, technology, support us today. And while we're figuring that out, for those of you who are interested in joining the retreat, when the link is dropped, you can go and check out the retreat. All the information is there. If you have questions, there's every button on there will lead you to a call with me, so we can hop on a call. You can also send me a message on Facebook through Facebook Messenger, or if you're an Instagram person, my Instagram is here at Nicole Lovince. It's just my name. You can shoot me a DM there, and we can also talk. So if you just go to that link, it'll get you set up to have a conversation with me about joining us. And it's September 14th through the 17th. Tulum, Mexico. So I'd love to welcome you in. If you've got questions, let's jam.
That's awesome. And I haven't gotten your text yet.
Oh my God. So I'm going to email you. Let's do that.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Technology, everyone, is so juicy and supportive.
Yes.
I just sent you the email, so let's see if it
Okay, let me refresh my email, but I'm also opening my text app again because one of them ought to show up.
Yeah. I can also just say it out loud and maybe you can type it too if that might be.
Let's do that because, oh my gosh. HTTP.
Yep. Let me know when you're ready for after the W.
Okay, so is it HTTP or HTTPS?
It's HTTPS.
Okay.
The colon / www.goddessbaths with an s.com /Tulum Retreat. TULUMRETREAT. Tulum Retreat. So goddessbaths.com /Tulum Retreat.
Okay. Look right?
I actually can't see it.
Oh, okay. Oh, you know what? No, it's not right. I have to do it again.
Okay.
I typed goddess wrong.
Technology.
Goddessbaths.com.
This is what I do love about live streaming because it just makes it so real. It's like no one is trying to promote perfection. Actually, promote, but like,
yeah,
life is life. Like,
we are not the spiritual leaders that are gonna like never show that we do anything wrong. We're always going to be real and vulnerable and show up the way we are.
Yeah. Because it just gives permission to everybody else to do the same.
Exactly. It's beautiful. Yeah. Okay, so the link is in, it went to YouTube only.
Oh my gosh, technology.
Okay, Nicole, you're going to go into your LinkedIn and your Facebook and add the
Okay.
link underneath the thing. I'll do the same. And we're ending this broadcast. We
We
love you and we love ourselves.
Yes, we do. Thank you so much, Angela, for having me.
My pleasure.